So thank you guys all for coming. My name is Liza, and I'm up here speaking on behalf of the woman who just walked out the door, Emily and Yandel. They're kind of my partners in organizing these personal finance talks. This is the second one that we've done. We're doing them in partnership with OnPath Federal Credit Union. So credit unions are kind of the best. The way that they're set up is they're set up to lift lower income and kind of marginalized communities to the next level of income and of financial opportunity. And so they have all sorts of good loan programs, credit fixing programs, this and that, that they do free of charge, and they're nonprofit. So they serve a really important role in the community, which is why we partner with them. So today what we're doing the panel on is home ownership. How many people are interested in buying a home maybe in the next 5 years? Super cool. And then we're taping this. I know I got some emails from people who couldn't attend, but we're taping it as well. But basically we put this together. I kept on hearing from my students. I work in nursing and allied health. I run a mentorship program, that they really wanted to know more about finances, how to get their credit in shape, how to kind of move to the next level. And so Emily and Yandel and I put this panel together. We wanted to bring in a home buyer. So we found Shikia. She was recommended through the city. I'm gonna give a little bio on each person kind of as I talk. Shikia, it was like, I had to call her yesterday for her bio, and she said, well, okay, a couple things. I have 5 kids, I'm 35, I work at Capital One. And she said, oh, one more thing. I'm a student at Delgado. So I was like, that's amazing, because y'all are gonna be hearing from one of your own. She's finishing up the last of her prereqs prior to going into the nursing program at Charity. Damon, I will read his bio. He is a New Orleans native and public finance professional with more than 10 years experience in entrepreneurship, investment banking, corporate banking, and economic development. He's the president and CEO of Finance New Orleans, which is a housing and economic development finance agency that has financed over $600 million in affordable housing and economic development projects in New Orleans. So I'm going to say Damon is one of about 4 entities that works with home buyers in the city. Hannah's another one, Nora's another one. So he's going to speak on behalf of those programs, but maybe also a little bit of some of the other ones that are happening in the city. Also with us today, thank you for making time for us, is Ms. Donnie Lewis. She's with the Jefferson Parish Department of Community Development, where she's worked for 11 years. She's worked on a range of programs from home rehab to emergency rental assistance. And now she administers the department's first-time home buyer program, which allows low to moderate income residents of Jefferson Parish to purchase a home with the help of substantial forgivable, it's a key word, forgivable grants. During her time with the department, she has assisted over 91 Jefferson Parish residents to become first-time home buyers. And my quote from Donnie is, I enjoy seeing the smiles on young families, especially the Section 8 client who never dreamed of owning their own homes. So with that, I'm going to turn it over to our moderator, Javier Sanchez. He's the Assistant Vice President for Community Development with OnPath, and he's been an awesome partner. He's been with OnPath for a number of years. He started off as a teller and worked his way up.
Yeah. So good morning, everyone. Thank you for joining us this morning. We're really excited to present this and very excited to partner with Delgado and Liza. So with home buying, there's a lot of different aspects, and everybody comes and approaches it from a different place. So getting to what the information you need is kind of what we're going to help you with today. And of course, if you have questions outside of what we're asking, please feel free to either email any one of us to give very specific questions. Okay, so with that, buying a home, where should I start, generally speaking, panelists? And Ms. Donnie, if you wouldn't mind starting off.
I would love to. Should I say? Yep. Good morning. The first thing I would do, and you should do, is ride around, look at different neighborhoods that you want to actually live in. Nobody should be allowed to tell you, oh, you can't live there or this or that. Look at that neighborhood, think of your family structure, and make sure that's where you want to live. Okay? That's where I would start.
And Mr. Dana?
Yeah, in terms of buying a home, starting, I'll pick up the Diane left off, because I agree, that's where you start. And I think from there, you gotta look at who can help you. You need to get a real estate agent. So you want somebody that's knowledgeable, that knows the area, that's trustworthy. Look through your networks, maybe your family knows somebody, or you know somebody that's a real estate agent, that can go out, find some good options for you based on the first step you took, figuring out what you like. And I think that real estate agent can also help you identify some of the programs that we're gonna talk about today.
And Ms. Shakir?
Hi. So, for me, while I do agree with riding around and looking for your home, for me personally, my first thing was to just analyze what I could do, what was right in front of me, which was my family and my finances. I wanted to first start off with seeing, okay, I'm in an apartment and the basis of it were rent, lights, food, my everyday. But I also had to look at when you own a home, while those are what you have, the basics, you also have care for, it's like insurance, anything around the house that maybe needs to be fixed, something that all becomes your responsibility. So I looked at everything as a whole and what is that I can do and what's in my grasp, also my family size. When I bought my home, I had 4 kids and I was pregnant with my 5th. So, and the renting market, it just wasn't working for me and the size of my family. So I agree with, like they said, looking around and seeing what you like and what you know, the area that you want to live in. But I had to start with my finances and my family first before I go anywhere, you know, so that's why I started.
That's good advice, starting with a budget, and we recommend that highly, right? Also, with Damon said about meeting a good real estate agent, that's where you can start your contacts on Facebook and Instagram, who all sort of meets you in your same sort of space, in your comfort factor, somebody you can connect with, because they're handling probably the most expensive thing that you'll ever purchase. And you really want to make sure that they have your best interest in mind. So always remember that. So for Donnie and for Ms. Donnie and Mr. Damon, what programs do you all broker specifically?
I'm currently doing the Jefferson Parish First Time Homebuyer program. What's required in that process is your income, and what HUD does for us on an annual basis, we get new income limits and home limits. And that's because we make sure our program gears to affordability, like affordable homes that we gear toward LMI clients, low to moderate clients, that you can actually afford that home. Outside of that, we look at your job status. So when you're getting out of school and you start looking for a home, I'm gonna back up a little bit on the financial aspect. The first thing we require that you do is take the home buyer classes. There's the first time home buyer class and a home ready. And what they do in that class, they look at you, your financial status. Are you ready to buy a home? You have dings on your credit. You need to fix some things. And these agencies work with you to clean it up. So now you can kind of get out of the bushes and see your way financially, and you know what you can afford. And from there, we look at a 2-year job history, because now you're showing sustainability on the job. And after COVID and the way things are going now, it's kind of hard, but when you leave school or wherever, try to hang on to that job. Make sure it's something you want to do long term. Think of your family structure like she did. Will you have network? If I live in this area, will somebody be able to help you with the kids but I know I gotta go to work, because now this is a big responsibility buying a home. You're gonna have plumbing issues could come up, water issues, roof, hurricane. You have to make sure you prepare for that. And when you take that class for the first time, it's gonna show you how to have that emergency savings, so you'll be ready for those things. Yes, sir.
How can I get the information about the home buyer classes?
What we have on our webpage, and Damon can probably share more, you can go to jeffparish.net, and you can also Google HUD has a list of first-time homebuyer classes. And what I've been working with lately, whatever bank you decide to finance through, if you look at those banks, have some HUD certified classes as well that they can refer you to. Okay.
So these classes are the paid classes, you have to pay for that?
Some of them have a fee, yes, they do.
Okay.
It's not a whole lot, because I mean, for my program. Some people don't do the LMI. If you're outside of that, you know, your banker will work with you on it. Just as long as I get that certificate and it's certified, you did your 12 hours, I'm good.
Means that our banker will tell us that which classes we have to go.
Yes, and they network with different agencies who administer those classes. So normally, when you submit that application to the bank, and whatever banker you're working with, she'll say, hey, Donnie, they gotta do a first-time homebuyer class. They'll send you a link, and you can do it online, or if you need to go to class.
Thank you.
They have a great list on their website. I hopped on, I think Neighborhood Housing Services,
Yes.
which does a really good one. I
Yes,
did it
very
like 20
good.
years ago, it was at the
Mhm.
top.
Yes.
And the Jefferson Parish list is
Yes.
solid.
It's
Fully exempt.
jeffparish.net. I have some cords if y'all wanna look at our website.
So most of the email which you have mentioned here, it is not completed.
Say it again.
The email information.
Right, some of the emails didn't, the way.
It's not being-
Oh, they got cut off?
Yep.
Just email me. I'll give you
Oh, I
my
see.
card and I can send it to you.
And
I
you'll
can send
have
it to
my
anyone.
card too. I'll give you a card as well.
Give us the card, please.
Yep, no
Thank you.
problem.
And Damon, what programs do you use?
So again, I represent Finance New Orleans, which is one of the city's sub-agencies that's focused on financing affordable housing and economic development projects. So we've been around for 40 years. Many generations of families in New Orleans have bought homes using programs offered by Finance New Orleans. So historically, what we've offered is a program for first-time home buyers, and other qualifying home buyers to get a first mortgage and down payment assistance. You're gonna need a substantial amount of down payment to get into the home, at least 3 to 5% of the mortgage that you're looking to take out. You're gonna have to have the down payment assistance. So it's just really difficult to save money in this economy. And, we've had a lot of ups and downs in New Orleans and a lot of other cities. So you have these programs that are administered by cities that want to provide down payment assistance because we want people to buy homes. We want people to invest in the city. We want people to have an opportunity to keep building up. So that's the purpose of the program. And you can go to our website, financenola.org, and we have some flyers on the front table too. And our main program right now is called the Green Mortgage Program. And it's called the Green Mortgage Program because, as y'all know, we deal with a lot of climate issues and weather issues here in New Orleans. So it's really important to buy the home, but it's also important to protect that home too. So this program helps you do a couple of things. Number one, it helps you get into the home with a first mortgage, an affordable first mortgage, and a second mortgage, which is a down payment assistance loan. And the combination of those two makes that home more affordable. So that's the first thing. And then the second thing is, if you can afford it, if the appraisal can afford it, then we can build in a little budget so you can start making improvements around the home. Because any home that you buy in our program, it has to be move-in ready. But even if it's move-in ready, it may be dated. You might want to fix up the kitchen, the bathroom, you need to fix the roof, maybe the windows need some work, and then also you want to deal with the water issues outside of the home because that can cause challenges for you and the community as a whole. You might want to do some energy efficiency so that your light bill can stay at a modest price. And then you also may want to do things that can protect the home from wind damage. Because when another hurricane comes, and it will come again, you got to protect that home. It has to withstand it so we just don't have too much disruption to our lives. So that's the purpose of adding those extra elements to the program. But sometimes it's just about getting into the home. So you can do that with this program too, and work your way into bigger improvements if the home doesn't already have it, or if you're just not ready to do it at the beginning. So don't be discouraged if you can't protect the home right away. It's just something you got to keep your mind on. Because also you want to maintain the value of your property over time. So everybody on the house is everybody on the block is fixing up their homes with stormwater technologies, or maybe they put solar panels on their roof or something like that. And those homes are going to be viewed as more valuable moving forward. It hadn't been quite reflected in a lot of appraisals, as you'll learn, but it's still important for it to happen. So this is that program. This is the program for that. It's offered to families in Orleans Parish. They have similar programs in Jefferson Parish and Baton Rouge and some surrounding areas. But this specific program is for people who are looking to buy in Orleans Parish. And if you are a first-time home buyer, then a good place to start would be our website. There's a home buyer education portal on our website, and you can start your home buyer education program today. You can do it online. You still have to work with or spend some individual one-on-one time with a home buyer educator that's listed on our website. So there's about 4 of them listed, and then a series of banks listed as well. Diane talked about selecting your bank and picking the right one for you. So you can go on our website today and start this process. There is a fee to do the home buyer education course. I believe it's about $100 right now. So it's an investment, but it's an investment and entryway to a bigger program that can help you get a lot more money in order to buy your home.
Okay, great. I want to touch base on a couple of things that you said that may not be clear to everyone. Ms. Donna, you mentioned affordability. What does affordability actually mean to someone who's just getting into the market?
When you go to the bank, they're gonna tell you how much of a home you qualify for. That's based off your income. What we do, we get our home units from HUD. HUD keeps the homes that you have to purchase within an affordable range. If it says a house that's already built, the max that we can go to help you get that home will be, that home can't exceed $242,000. But if it's a brand new house, you can go to $251,000. And when we look at the affordability on that home, we give a soft second. In Jefferson Parish, you could get $50,000. If that home costs $2,500, $251,000, that would be a great $2,500 house. I want that. You would need $2,500 of your own money, which is that 1% interest in the house, keeping things affordable for you. And then what we do, we monitor that home, which is we call affordability. That means that house, when you qualify for that home, it needs to be affordable for just you. That package is for you. Now, another thing when they use the word affordability, we have what you call 5, 10, 15-year affordability. That's a soft second that we go second lien underneath your top mortgage. And all that means is we're gonna watch the house, we're gonna monitor, we're gonna make sure you're good, because we just had a pandemic, we had the hurricane, we had the rain. We wanna make sure that house stays affordable for you. So that's what we kind of mean about affordability for us. And if you wanna live in Kenner, we give $60,000. And all that's forgivable. All you have to do is stay in your home for that affordable amount of time. But say your family grows, and hey, I need out. It's dying, we need to leave. I'm gonna look at you, look at your financial situation. Okay, all right, she did good. Family group. Now what we will look at you after 7 years. But say you wanna get out in 3-4 years, that money has to come back. We'll take that off the top sale price. If you sell that house, we gave you 50, you sell that house, you get 350,000. It's a 3-year gap. You didn't make it to the 7th year, the 50,000 will go back. But say you go 7.5 years, then I'll prorate it for the amount of time you've been in the house. So you can get out of it. It's just, we would like for you to be mindful, kind of stabilize your life. You have ups and downs, because what I'm finding now, so many of my clients is calling because they want, these banks are going after the LMI client. Oh, you need to refinance now, you'll never get a rate like that. Sit on it. You got a better rate before, because right now what they got for rates in insurance is not worth it.
Okay, thank you, Ms. Miller. And Damon, you mentioned that you're a sub-agency. I don't think everybody knows what exactly that means. So could you clarify that for us?
Yeah, the city of New Orleans has a lot of functions that happen at City Hall. the city's mainly responsible for public safety, keeping streets clean, collecting taxes, doing those kind of things. But it also wants to make sure that other kinds of investment happens, like housing, transportation. So you have other agencies in the city, like the RTA, the Sewage and Water Board, Hanover's another one, the New Orleans Redevelopment Authority, and Finance New Orleans is a part of that mix too. So all of those elements that are not the primary function of the city of New Orleans, which is our primary government, they have these sub-agencies, which we are one of them.
Okay, great. Thank you. So what are the processes involved in federal, state, and parish home buying assistance programs that you run? And David, start first.
And I'll go after you.
I know it's kind of a loaded question. Let's break it down a little bit. What are the processes involved in the federal home buying assistance programs that you run? So we'll start with federal and then come to state.
Well, it all works together in many
Okay.
cases. So, so this program I just told you about, we offer first mortgages that are guaranteed by the federal government. So it's either an FHA or a Freddie Mac mortgage that you will get from us. So that's the same thing that the banks have. And the federal government insures or supports a large number of mortgages in this country. Pretty much the whole housing market is supported by the federal government. So they set a lot of rules that we have to follow. This home buyer education course is one of them. So that's an example of federal policy. And then we just have to follow other rules and guidelines that are outlined in the FHA and Freddie Mac mortgage programs. So our program looks a lot like I said, what you would get from a bank, but we have a few extra steps because we are a quasi sub-agency of the city of New Orleans. And because of that, you have to do things like home buyer education or meet other requirements. So usually we try to make it not too complicated for the home buyer, so you can just focus on getting in the home. But the most process-oriented thing they're going to have to do getting into the home is doing that home buyer education course.
Thank you. And Ms. Donnie?
I'm going to piggyback off of Damon as well. My process is real seamless. I'm very involved because I know the population is very vulnerable. You're going to have questions along the way. Again, you have to take the first-time home buyer classes. That's number one. Once you take those classes and they determine that, oh, my client has the credit, the money, they're good to go. Once you leave the class, you go to our website. We have a list of approved loan officers that we vet and we teach them how we administer our program, because a lot of it is federal rules that we have to follow, regulations we have to follow, because when we're audited, we want to make sure we're above board, we're doing what's right, because we want that money to keep going. The next step is choosing a realtor. Make sure you choose a realtor that you trust, you believe in, and they're not going to steer you in the wrong direction. You got to really trust that person, because you're going to spend a lot of time with that realtor more than the banker, but you don't want to get somebody that is going to say, oh, you got to live here, this house is this or that. No, that's why the first thing I told you, make sure that's a neighborhood you want to be in. If your realtor say, hey, this is Ken or this is JP, but this house is this, already know in your mind where you want to live and what you're looking for. Once that realtor is finished, he turns you back over to that loan officer. Being a loan officer, they've been trained on our policies and procedure. We work your loan, get your approval. I have 24 hours once they send me a packet to get back with her and say, okay, I'm good to go. Then you go through your appraisal process, insurance, home inspection, very important. Whenever you have a home inspection, be there. You pay for it. Get a copy. Go over it with that seller. Don't let somebody, you pay for this. Don't let somebody sell you a home with a lot of deficiencies. I know you can go to Damon, but for our program, we want you to be turnkey ready, go in that house and enjoy it. Not because your LMI, low to moderate income, you can't afford a roof. because they've already looked at your income, you within this budget. When you live within your budget, you're good, you can still enjoy your everyday life. When Shanika have a birthday party, you could go buy a little gift and attend, because you budgeted, you know what you're spending for insurance and on that home note. But the process is seamless. If you come to Jefferson Parish, I'm gonna hold your hand, we're gonna have fun. Home buying should always be fun. It shouldn't be, oh, I'm so stressed, something is wrong, you gotta, wait a minute, what's stressful, what's wrong? It should be a second line in the walls, a good time, all right?
That's a great way to put it. It
Yes.
should not be stressful, and if you
Right.
are stressed, something's not going right
Right.
in your direction.
Right.
So are there any risks of working with the programs that both of you run?
Oh, yeah.
You want to start?
The biggest risk is buying a home. Because all the things Diane just mentioned about budgeting, you gotta make sure that home is comfortably within your budget, all of the costs, not just the mortgage. Remember, you gotta pay the energy bill, you gotta pay the light bill, you have to pay insurance, you gotta pay for things when they break. So it's all on you when that happens. So you just gotta be in a comfortable place in order to make that happen, because the worst case scenario is you lose your home. You gotta give it back, or you gotta sell it at a loss, and you just don't wanna be in that predicament. So mainly, what you wanna do is make sure you can comfortably afford it. You don't wanna be stressed out paying your mortgage. When I bought my first home as a student, or just coming out of school, I was excited to be a homeowner, but I bought too soon. And the place I bought didn't really cost that much, but I just really wasn't ready. Didn't really have enough money saved up. Mortgages were a little easier to get at that point in time. So the lesson there is, just because you can get a mortgage doesn't mean you should take it. You gotta really be able to afford it. They put everything on paper, and you look at the numbers together on paper, and all that makes sense, and that's cool, but you know how the money flow out of your bank account every month. And you know if you're gonna be able to handle that extra payment. So just be careful. It's worth the risk if you do it right and it's comfortable, you got enough down payment. But save,
Yes.
so that you can be in a good position. Whether you buy the home or not, or even as you're in it, you still wanna have enough room so you can save money and you can do other things in your life too.
And Ms. Donnie?
I'm not gonna repeat everything he said, but what I've always told my children, they are all homeowners, be real to yourself. I may go old school, take that pen and paper out. Every 2 weeks, I make $1,000. Every month, $600 going out, right? That means I got $400 left at the end of the month, right? Be real to yourself. Can I really afford this house? I know I gotta pay light, gas, water, insurance, taxes, building that escrow. So be real to yourself, write it. Get out that pen and paper, get out of social media and Googling it, see it for yourself. Because that's what I tell my children, see it. They're like, oh, Mom, I'm broke. Oh, baby, you didn't see the light at the end of the tunnel. Clearly, because you shouldn't be broke. You should have some money at the end, right? So always get out that pen and paper, be true to yourself. Know how much that insurance is gonna cost you annually. Build that stock to pay your insurance. Know how much that house note is gonna cost. And what else you have? You got house, insurance, taxes come every year. Some of them are escrowed in your note. But you still wanna be prepared, because right now what's happening to us, all our homes was affordable. But guess what? Insurance is triple, quadruple. Then you have taxes that have gone skyrocket. That's gonna affect your house note. That's why I had clients, oh, Ms. Donnie, what am I gonna do? My house note is so high, and it's because of insurance. Have that emergency fund, number one. No, we didn't predict COVID. No, we didn't predict the hurricane. But be prepared. Be ready for that day. And don't let people pressure you to make hasty mistakes. Because you gotta remember, when you bought that house last year, interest rates a hell of a lot lower than what they are today. And they will paint this beautiful picture, oh, refinance. Listen to the market.
Question, Liza?
I would be interested to hear from Shikia.
Yes.
How long ago did you buy your house?
I bought my house in
She was up
November.
next.
I'm there listening because all of what they're saying is, and honestly, I'm gonna be 1,000% honest. If you can get with anyone that's going to basically lay out the blueprint for you to follow, I'm gonna tell you, do it. Because if you're anything like me, I am Miss I want to find my own lender. I want to find a realtor that's not working with the lender. I'm going to ask this about the program. Nobody could know anybody for me because that's just me. I feel like they all be working together.
Yes.
I ain't want that. So the way I went about doing everything, especially the Soft Second program, my friend said she did it like some years ago. So I went on to Google. I Googled Soft Second. And a list came up, and they said, well, the only way that you can go through the Soft Second is if you go through these particular lenders. So what I started doing, I started calling everybody on the list, starting from the top, and the first person that picked up is who I decided to go with. And needless to say, I'm saying her name, she understand her, but Heather, I wouldn't trade her for the world. I will go through her every time if I can. Because that process, when they say you don't want it to be stressful, it was very stressful. I mean, extremely stressful because for me, I wanted to know how much was I approved for. I wanted to know that day. I wanted to, they say, well, you can, this program offers this. I wanted to know all the stipulations that day. I wanted everything to be right now. I wanted phone calls as soon as I hang up. Like, I made it stressful, and if you don't learn nothing else from the home buying process, the game of patience is a must. That's the only way you're gonna make, you have to have patience, because I overstressed myself. I have to. What I did learn eventually, that a lot of the work and everything was going on was on Heather, but the way she moved and operated and communicated, like I was able to breathe. Because mind you, I told y'all that I was pregnant, but I also had my son had just made one, but I also have 2 teenagers, and I have a 7-year-old. So I am everywhere in terms of school and life and everything else. And to say I put myself in the situation to buy a home, I still don't know how I made it. Well, I know how I made it, Heather, because many of times I cried because when she said, well, we can't do this, I didn't want to hear what I can't do. I don't want nobody to tell me what I can't do. I don't like to hear I can't do. I want to, that's what I want to do, and somebody got to make it happen. So I picked, like I said, a neighborhood. The neighborhood I wanted to move in was a school that my son already was going into, and I was determined to be in that neighborhood. I got turned down for 2 homes before I got the house that I'm in. But again, I'm not taking no. If I say that's where I want to live, that's where I'm going. Heather knew how I was. Heather said, I understand you may want to give up because you can't do this, you can't do that, but she said, I'm not going to let you give up. I actually told my lender not to call me no more. I said, do not call me. You keep on telling me no, I don't want to hear it. I woke up the next morning, Heather called my phone. I said, Heather, I told you don't call me. She said, I don't care what you say. We're going to get this house, we're going to get your neighborhood, but what I need for you to do is be patient. And that's when all of the program, the Soft Second, I was awarded the total $70,000 for my home, which I was like, why? But thank you. Because I didn't think I was getting all of it or whatever. So it's like all these programs, they are great to go through. It's just when they tell you what you have to do, listen to them, and again, be patient, because once you get those keys and the whole process is over, and all you gotta do, it's just like it's overwhelming. I just couldn't stop crying, but I also couldn't stop smiling. Then to see 5 little people like, am I like this really our house? Like we own, like this is ours, and I'm like, this is ours, and my daughter, can I go paint this? I said, girl, you could paint it striped zebra, because this is ours. This is our house. Like we own this. But they definitely, when you get with your lender and your realtor and everybody, even sometimes I talk to people who went through the Soft Second program. Also, a lot of my friends who went through it. Your support system is big, and your support system is not necessarily going to be your mom or your dad or your husband or your boyfriend or whomever. it was people I never thought that I would be leaning on for that type of support going through that process. But, going through them with their blueprint, don't be hard-headed like me. I mean, because it just, I mean, like I said, you can overstress yourself. Utilize all of those programs. They have those programs so that you can use them, so it can be stressless. So, you know, it's just great to use. I just, but again, just be patient with the whole process.
So having said that, Chika, what was the moment that you said, I need to buy my own house? What finally made you cross that line?
When I had my my third son, my daughter, who was we really teach our kids to be honest. So when I say honest, we really mean honesty. When I had my third son and rent was going up, I had to move into another 2-bedroom because she was like, well, it's 3 of us and you. Why would we move to another, 2-bedroom? And she was like, well, does anybody got to share a room? And she looking like who got to share a room? Do I got to share a room? I'm like, you know what? I guess she was like, Mom, can please just get out? I was like, I don't want to live in an apartment anymore because if the next door neighbor playing the music too loud, she can't sleep, she's complaining. She's like, Mom, they got to turn the music down. And then just hearing all of that from her, she was a kid. My daughter really was like my driver to moving in that space to get my own because she wanted her own space, she wanted her own house, and she, and when she hear about her friends and things like that of what they doing with their house and they got these lights up and they painting and they doing everything and they having parties in their big old backyards and she like, I don't got a backyard, I want to have this. And as a parent, you're like, it takes you back, and it's like, and at that moment, I told her, look, we're not getting a house right now. I can't do it. But I'm like, you know what? I work every day. I work 2 jobs, actually. I've been working 2 jobs. I love money. I do. And I'm like, you know what? Let me just sit down, I pulled my own free credit report, because, I was told to do that. I pulled it, I looked at everything, I got with my financial advisor on all of what I could fix, and I'm like, you know what? I'm about to get my home. I'm paying all this money for rent, my mortgage and my rent, honestly, yo, it's the same thing. It's my money.
Well, it's a big difference.
That's a big difference, way more space.
Rent is for someone else's money.
Someone else, yep.
And your mortgage is for you at the end of the day, right?
My space.
Great story. So Donnie and Damon, what are some of the key elements in terminology that we should start listening for, processing, like real estate agent, down payment, soft second, y'all talked about, home inspection, buying down points?
I would say debt to income is a big deal. If you look at the back of this flyer, there are some requirements listed under the section who qualifies, and it talks about, it says DTI, but that means debt to income. So you're gonna start hearing that a lot, which means how much debt you have relative to your income. And unfortunately, a lot of students have struggled to get homes because students get penalized for student loans. And that goes into your debt and DTI coverage. So they're just things to be on the lookout for, meaning you just gotta keep your finances clean, save as much as you can, and I would say also the credit score, which is pretty common. People always talk about credit scores. Some of these programs have limiting credit scores. And our program, for example, I'm not happy about what our credit score requirement is, 660. But that's a federal requirement, going back to the question you asked earlier. So sometimes we have federal requirements that are put on us that we can't do anything about. So we gotta work around them, and we have to get home buyers into that category. So sometimes there's some work that goes into actually executing the home ownership contract and getting into the home. There's a path there, so it's not always straightforward. So just get accustomed to some of those terms that have already been thrown out. And then one last thing I'll say is that it's not so much the terminology, but something that you can do in this program, which is buy a double. You can actually buy 2 to 4 units. So another way to make it affordable outside of some of the programs is to become a landlord too. So don't think that's very possible in these programs. You just gotta find the right property, have the right situation. But that can also increase affordability. If you own one of the units, if you own a double or a fourplex, you can rent it out to strangers, or you can rent it out to family members, whatever you want to do. But have a plan, and also know that if this is your first home, you can start thinking about your second and third investment. So this is an entry-level investment that can raise up or allow you to invest more down the line. So just keep that in mind, that this is a path, and that you're not going to learn all this overnight. But be patient and just kind of study it up a little bit.
So, Ms. Donnie, what does soft second mean?
It's a second lien that goes on your property. It's a soft mortgage. It's a grant, and I don't like to say the word mortgage, but for terminology wise, so you can understand. What that means for me as a soft second, I'm gonna give you $50,000. I'm just gonna sit underneath your primary mortgage. Your mortgage is here, we're gonna be right here. I'm a soft second. What that means, it protects my money, it protects you, because when that person like Damon say, oh, I can give you $10,000 more, and, you know, we can bump Jefferson Parish and let me get there, that's why we were like, no, you can't bump me. But you could go with Damon. Damon gotta go beneath me, because I'm gonna stay second lien, and you're gonna sign an agreement with me. It's gonna be attached to your home if anything happened, has to go anywhere. And we have a lot of people call us and say, hey, you want to leave second lien position? Why? Because I want to give them more money, and then on top of your money, so now the house is not affordable. Because you're gonna have all these liens, and that overwhelms you as a person. You won't owe me, but that person that comes underneath me or want to bump me, it's gonna be required that you pay that lien back. But mine is a grant, so you don't have to pay me. I'm just gonna sit there and make sure you do good by that grant money, and you afford that house. And good Lord, the day is gonna come that is yours. Your home to love. Hopefully I'll be off that lien, because we only do it for 5, 10, 15. And another thing I want to say with Damon, when you're going through the process, your DTI, very, very important, very important. Get to know what your DTI is. For
That's
me,
income.
yes, we have a front end and a back end for me. I'm 43. My front end is a 24, which makes it more of a home you can afford. You know what I'm saying? So if my max is 240,000, say, you know, because of all your income and all this good stuff, you could get to that $242,000 threshold, because my front end ratio is lower. So that means you can afford more. But when you start creeping above that 43%, I'm like, Damon, it's like, you got all those bills going out now, all your money going out, you can't afford your house. So that back end ratio is very important too.
And how about you, Shikia? What did you learn in the process of with all these terms? How did you navigate all the terminology?
Well, I've been working in banking since 2013, so a lot of the term stuff that I hear, it wasn't foreign, but as far as it actually being like my situation in my case, I mean, when they would tell me something, I was like, okay, you know, break it down, and if I still didn't understand something, whether it bothered them, I would just go to work and utilize. But I mean, it's no different than using Google, and you don't understand a question or a term, or you want them to further break it down a different way, you can always use your resources as well. Now again, you should always be able to go to your loan officer or your realtor, whoever it is that you're working with. But again, for me, when I want to answer, I can't wait till you wake up the next day. So I'm gonna get on my phone and I'm gonna like Google, ask the questions, and keep searching until I understand it completely. Because if you don't do anything else, you want to understand exactly what's going on. Just because your lender says it doesn't mean that it's understand what you're doing, understand what you're signing, because at the end of the day, it is yours. You are responsible. And so that was the biggest thing, just basically understanding, you know, my job, so as well, but going through the process myself.
So you did your own due diligence.
Definitely.
She was involved.
Very
Major-
involved.
Very
and
involved buyer,
involved,
which is
be
important.
involved.
So, Siki, again to you, what surprised you in the whole process, the home buying process?
Oh, the programs and stuff that's out there, like the things that you didn't think was in reach to you. Because before I learned about self-second, I was just trying to follow what they say, the 3% down and do it that way. You have to have this amount. I was following that. And when I was like, then when it was like, why, my friends, why you doing this, why you doing that? And so I just went to searching for myself. And when I found all of those resources, all these programs, and all these grants and stuff like that, I'm like, you really can own a home if you really want to. If you want, you can go get it. Like, nobody's situation is out of the question. Like I said, it's me and 5 kids, which I guess if you would say normal, that's like, damn, like, how you gonna afford, you got kids and daycare and this and that. If you want a house, you can get a house. You just have to know, like I said, know your situation, be serious about your situation, understand your finances, and you can get it. You can definitely own a home.
Did anything go sideways while you were doing this process for you?
In the beginning, when I didn't utilize the programs, the homes, I had one under contract, paid for the inspection, did everything. I'm thinking I'm about to get keys, and they told me that there's something with the insurance that didn't allow it, or something like that. I heard no, and it was a blur for me, because when I hear no, So it was a house that I really thought I was getting, and when he told me I couldn't get it, everything else that they were saying, I didn't really want to hear it, because y'all told me I wasn't getting it. So, and that's when I started utilizing programs and grants and things like that, and looking at my situation, in which I know too many people that are like me and in my situation. And, I'm like, you know what, let me really figure this out, because I want to be able to speak to people I know, people I don't know, like that, to let them know, like, go do your research, you can get it. But, yeah.
So you said that you did 2 contracts on 2 homes that you didn't get,
I did.
right?
Yeah, in the area only.
So what made you stick with it? Like, what was your big fire in your belly that said, okay?
Well, my Linda, Heather,
Heather,
yes.
she kept you on the straight and narrow.
Yeah, because just when they tell you, no, you can't qualify for this one, but we're gonna do this, and I'm like, Heather, this is stressful. I'm trying to give birth here. I'm not trying to keep on getting told, so.
Right.
But between her and my daughter, it was like, we're gonna get it.
Okay.
We're gonna do it. So it was my Linda. She was
encouraging.
Yeah.
She
Definitely.
kept your eye on the prize.
She kept
And when
texting
she
my
talked
phone.
about the contracts and the inspections,
Mhm.
do your due diligence in those homes. Go in there, open those cabinets up for yourself. If a realtor gonna show you a house, touch it.
Yes.
See if it's yours. Open them cabinets. Oh, the cabinet's not here. Before you pay for that inspection now. Plumbing, electrical, major
Yeah.
stuff like that, you won't see until that inspection, but touch that house.
Yeah, my
If
inspector
you-
was great too.
Yeah,
He,
they're gonna bring it to you. You
Yeah.
just gotta be there though, be there.
What's Heather's last name?
Heather. She works with City of New Orleans.
Cool. ELLER.
Uh-huh. And she had 2 twin girls. They was involved in the process too. Because they was always on the phone, you could hear them talking as well. So she understood a lot of what I was going through as far as the kids. When it's time for me to do homework, she's like, okay, well, we're gonna do our kids' homework together, but we're also gonna move with this process. Like, Heather is, she's amazing. She really is.
Great. So in conclusion, for you all panelists, what advice would you give to anybody who's wanting to purchase a home here sooner than later?
Patience. Have patience. If you want to go into it now, understanding and patience, you need those. You honestly need those. From the financial part of it, I can't tell them, but as far as just a human being and a mother, patience and understanding.
I'll add another P, planning. You gotta plan it out, and you gotta be patient enough to see the plan through. So start understanding your financial budget, what you can afford, what you're comfortable with. Understand what your long-term plan is. Are you gonna stay there 5 years? Is this gonna be a 10-year investment? Is this something you're gonna keep forever? You wanna buy it, move out, make that one an Airbnb, whatever it is, have a plan for it. So you can be ready to deal with all the ups and downs that come on the property. It's just part of the deal. Something's gonna break, something you didn't expect to happen will happen. So make sure you are at least planned ahead as much as you can, have enough saved, and have a maintenance, an emergency fund set aside. You need all that ready for the unpredictable, but you know what you wanna do in the long run. And that'll help you narrow down what kind of property you wanna buy and where you wanna buy it.
Ms. Tani?
I would say, be patient, be involved, and when you're looking, make sure it's something you need and not want, because there's a big difference. You're gonna want, all of us want that big house with that mega pool and, you know, like the rappers, you want that, right? That's a want. But then you gotta look at your family, like Sharika, know what I need is something I can afford. I want something that's accommodating to me and my family. I still want to be able to live the same lifestyle I had before I bought my house. So planning it is big, and being involved is being involved.
Great, some great advice. Do we have any questions? Yes.
I have a question. So when you was in an apartment and your daughter said what she said and you had the realization, not to be too intrusive, but was your credit, like for the people that don't have the best credit or low credit, was your credit score where it needed to be for you to start the journey? Or
Absolutely
that was a
not.
part of the journey?
Not even close. When I pulled it and I looked and saw all that was on there, I mean, that's when I was like, I got some work to do. It's not gonna be instant, but there were things and people that I talked to so I can get up faster than what I thought was gonna happen, but absolutely my credit was, I was surprised I didn't got a problem with the credit score. I'll be honest, because I mean, I didn't care. I wasn't brought up with the whole, your credit has to be this. So that's why if you do have kids, I don't care if they're 3 months, credit, write it on the pamphlet. I don't care. Credit is important because it's the way you navigate. Everybody doesn't have $1 million and everybody doesn't have the talent to where you can get all this money. Your credit is important. So but I worked on it because I knew,
Right. Eliza?
Just an add-on to that, I want to say, you have a great personal finance professor that's right back there. If you want to take a class at Delgado, that would benefit you towards learning a little
It's
bit
not a
more.
required course, that students say all the time it should be.
It would help
USG 125.
Yeah, and then I also will say that right down the street, because I know Javier's not going to say it, because he's not here to do a commercial for OnPath, but they have a great credit building program that you put $200 in an account, they lend you $200 back, and then you repay it over 6 months, so you get a clean record of repaying, and it boosts your score. So there's programs like that that help too.
Right. We offer counseling as well for free to help you get where you want to be. Great, next. Yes.
I heard the requirements of the credit score. I didn't get the,
Credit score?
Yeah.
640.
640, yours is 660, and we're on path. What is it?
Well, actually, depending on where you go, you can start talking, the conversation can start at 620. But during that conversation starting, we're gonna push it up as high as we can. Because at the long run, the higher your score, the less money you're gonna pay across the board. So that's really the primary reason why we want your credit score to go higher. And you all can attest to that.
Yes.
The higher your score, the less fees you're gonna pay. And it gives you, I tell everybody, the higher your credit score is, you get to make the choices. Someone's not making your choice, you're making your choice. So that's one thing you always want to do for yourself.
Yeah, because I actually been on path for a very, very long time.
Thank you
And
for
I
your
couldn't
membership.
believe- Thank you for having me. But I've been with you guys for a while, and when you were at ASI, I knew it was 580. And by you saying that, that a lot of things have changed since COVID and then the hurricanes and stuff like that, a lot has changed. So these are the requirements that they're asking now that everything has changed, which is very understandable. But it is kind of
You
challenging.
gonna get them.
So-
And 40 is
Yeah,
very
just
challenging.
when
Yeah,
you,
I've
next
had
time you go to the
this
branch,
for a
yeah,
while.
tell somebody you want a counseling session. That's
Yes.
free. We'll pull your soft credit report and we'll give you a copy so you can see exactly what's on your report.
Yeah, I have Jonathan, and I used to have Joseph, so
Mhm.
with OnPath, so I'm headed.
That's going back a ways. They're the best though.
Patience.
They're
Don't
the
forget
best.
patience. You'll be fine.
You'll be
All right,
fine.
You'll
thank
get
you,
there.
thank you.
Mhm.
Thank you. Yes, Beck?
I have a question. What typically comes first, the appraisal or the inspection?
Inspection.
I have a question. I heard you say something about people having a lot to do with it. I want to ask some question. If somebody's helping you and then they come back, and they want to pay back, like, what do you do?
I didn't hear the question.
Like if they're helping you, like get a house or get anything, and they want to pay back, like, what do you do?
That's predatory. Run. That's predatory. Nobody should do that.
Oh, cool. Thank you.
You mean like paying for help to, like, the process, like,
You know, if they're helping you, like, get something, a house or anything, a car, a job, but they come back and they won't pay back.
oh.
Predatory. You'll learn about predatory lending, realtors, all that in your class. Nobody should.
Okay.
These programs are grants. You shouldn't have to be bothered with. And if you told me something like that, and I would literally take you under my wing, but no, don't do that. That's not.
But your realtor will make a commission when the house is sold, so, and that's
Right.
all in the, at the
Right.
sale at the end, each realtor makes a commission, but
Right.
that's, and then, I mean, you have to pay for your inspection, and your
Yes.
appraisal and stuff
Yes.
like that.
I understand that,
Yeah.
but they won't pay back in other people.
No,
No, yeah.
no, never do that. Always no.
Yes, ma'am?
I have a question for Ms. Donnie. I know you said that they look at your income. So a lot of the houses in the market are like starting at like 300,000. And that's probably like a six-figure income. So what can be?
That's why I say sit tight for a little while, let the market cool off, because actually it's really, really, really bad out there. The houses are like real expensive, and you're not getting that type of house for your money.
Right.
You know, just sit tight and let it cool off. If you're not in a hurry, you're not facing homeless, sit tight and let this market cool down. I was told probably in September or either early next year, you'll see it cooling, because we're getting now some relief from the insurance commissioner with the new homeowners insurance, so that's gonna help too. So just cool down, if you can wait. It'll get better, because we were selling homes like, I was doing 20 loans, and I would have like 30, maybe 40 days, and we was popping them out. So it's gonna get better.
Gives you plenty of time to save for a
Yes.
down payment too.
Save,
Right.
and just
The more
know
you have,
you
the
got
better
this,
off you are.
this program to help with your down payment. For me, it's that 1% your skin in the game. So if you see a house for 200,000, just say, wow, I need at least $2,000 saved. But I always tell people, do a little cushion, try to push yourself, get to that 3,000, 4,000, and you should be fine.
Yes?
For the first time buyers, they are supporting from they get support from the federal and the state government. How does it work?
What, all the programs are different. So the City of New Orleans program that was just talked about, there are certain income requirements for that program. And then you'll have other programs like the one that Finance New Orleans offers, where the income requirements are a little bit different. So you gotta find the right program based on your personal situation. But then after that, mainly these programs come in the form of second mortgages. That was also explained earlier. So a second mortgage is, at the end of the day, is meant to reduce the amount of first mortgage that you have to pay. Because the more first mortgage you have to pay, the more expensive that mortgage is gonna be. So what you should expect from these programs is some form of support on the down payment or second mortgage side. That's the biggest thing that these programs provide, and the technical assistance from the home buyer education agencies and city departments have individuals within those agencies that are helping too. But what you want is some help buying the home. And sometimes they'll do it in the form of an interest rate buy down. They'll reduce the cost of your interest rate. So it may have the same effect in terms of what you pay every month. But you want to see how much capital you can get to help you buy the home.
Make sure you get somebody you can trust that's gonna walk you through that process. Trustworthy and being involved is very important. If you're working with a realtor, a loan officer and a realtor, but you come to me and you said, Ms. Donnie, some things they told me and what you said is just not job. And always ask questions too with the process, because like she said, she Googled. I mean, when I had these 20 loans, I'm telling you, when I went to the bathroom at night, I literally would check my email just to make sure. At 2 in the morning, I'm answering that first time home buyer, because that matters to them. They scared already, so answering that phone and emailing, responding, communication is like really, really important. And I can attest to that, and I
Definitely
feel
want
for
somebody
her.
that's gonna communicate with you, because it's just not knowing, and even sometimes not even really that, you'll need it right then and there. Of course, I didn't need my estimate at 2 in the morning, but I still wanted it, because I couldn't go to sleep, so I wanted to know what it was, so.
And sometimes it's not gonna always be what you wanna hear, but you do wanna hear the truth.
You definitely want the truth. You want somebody that's not gonna put you in something that you're gonna have to turn right back around and give away, because hearing no is, I can appreciate it now versus hearing, oh, Ms. Hubbins, you can't be, or you have to get, I don't want them to look at them and tell them, this not our house number, oh no, I can't do that. So,
Honestly, up
if, yes,
front,
if they tell you you can't afford
that.
it because you can't be in there, just because it's no for that one doesn't mean it's no altogether. Be patient. And that's what I learned.
Any other questions?
Do
Yes.
any of y'all program, do grants for building, purchasing land and building for first time home buyers?
Yeah, in the program I talked about earlier, the Green Mortgage Program, you can acquire a home, but it has to be move-in ready. You can't do land. No, unless you're doing a larger development project, but you have to be building at least 10 units in that case. So it just depends on what you're trying to do. But most of these programs don't allow you to buy land. It's generally, and sometimes they don't even really let you fix up a blighted property, because there's some risk in doing that, and it can be expensive. So mainly, you're gonna have to find something that's already, that you can move into, but you might be able to still fix it up a little bit.
Okay, so I was thinking about the USDA. I know that they have the program that you can purchase land in rural areas like outside of the city.
Oh, yeah.
And they do the grants for that. Because I've done the first time home buying program back in January with LHC. So does their certificate translate to either of y'all's programs, or does the first time home buyer
Yeah.
Yes.
have to be done with y'all?
The bank will accept LEC, and when they give it to us, as long as they help certify, we're fine.
Yeah, same here.
Okay.
You just call this number and they'll tell you all the different programs? I didn't get a,
Yeah, you can call our office, and it's listed on the flyer.
on this one here?
Yeah, it's at the bottom.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, that number at the bottom,
Yeah.
524-5533. Yeah, and we'll help point you in the right direction.
All right.
With that, we will thank you very much for this.